Berlin, Germany, the capital city, is set to play host to round 14 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, the BMW I Berlin E-Prix, presented by CBMM Niobium. The cars are on the grid, ready to go. There's just 2 races left this season, and today is the prequel, the precursor to what will be tomorrow's title decider. Here's a look at the grid. Robin Freitz is starting 23rd. He's the second place man in the championship. Nick de Vries, the championship leader, starts 19th on the grid, and he has got his work cut out for him today. He's ahead of his Mercedes EQ teammate Stoffel van Dorn at least. Then we've got the regular midfield runners, Blomqvist, Sete Camara, Sam Bird had a 3-place grid drop after a collision with Normo Nato, so he starts 15th. Nick Cassidy is 13th, and Oliver Rowland, is starting just outside of the top 10 in 11th spot, ahead of the Audi Sport App Schaeffler of René Rast. And now we move into the top 10. Those that are starting the race in a position to score points, will they be ending the race in a position to score points? On the left-hand side, that is the BMW I Andretti of Max Günther, the home hero. Won a race here in Berlin last year. He's got his work cut out from 10th. Another German driver, Pascal Wehrlein, starts 9th for the Tag Heuer Porsche squad, and he's up behind the other BMW, this time of Jake Dennis, the British driver who comes into this race 4th in the championship standings. Feels like he can go with the front runners. The same is true of Mitch Evans in the Jaguar. He comes into this weekend 8th in the championship standings and needs a big haul of points to try and climb up the order. Sebastian Buemi out of championship contention, but he's starting in 6th place and is racing for pride after undoubtedly his most difficult season in Formula E. Norman Nato is 5th for the Rocket Venturi team, and he starts just behind his teammate Eduardo Mortara. Mortara 9th in the standings, but only 1 point behind Mitch Evans, so he and Evans are in a very similar position. 3rd on the grid, Lucas de Grassi, the champion in Season 3, the Audi Sport App Schaeffler team, delighted with his 3rd place on the grid, but they could not stop the 2 Diesta cheaters. Antonio Felix da Costa, the reigning champion, and then the 2 years prior to him, it was Jean-Eric Vergne who was the champion, and those two are not at the top of the standings. Da Costa's 5th in the standings, Vergne is 12th in the standings. They will hope to launch themselves up their order today, but can they do it without compromising each other's race? That's how to get involved in FanBoost on the QR code on the right-hand side. Hashtag Berlin E-Prix to join the conversation. My name is Jack Nichols, here in the commentary booth in Berlin. Alongside me is the 3-time Indy 500 winner, Dario Franchitti. And today sets up tomorrow, essentially, because that's Nick de Vries there, that silver Mercedes on the right-hand side, and there's barely anyone behind him.
That's the back of the field, that's the pace car, the doctor's car at the back. Absolutely, Jack. To get through this race, you've got to deal with turn 1 first of all, 270 degrees, and they are going to be coming through there side by side, and there's going to be a lot of people towards the back of the grid trying to make their way forward. Guys at the front are going to be trying to hold their positions.
Jean-Eric Vergne is on the inside line going down towards the first corner. De Grassi may have a slightly physically shorter run towards the first turn. Can he get involved and split the Diesta cheaters at the start? That'll be his target.
Absolutely right. The hard thing for him is he's going to be braking on a tighter line. He'll have more lock in the car. It'll be easier to lose control on that tighter line.
There is de Vries, the championship leader, with a lot of cars ahead of him. 45 minutes plus 1 lap. We'll get into attack mode a little bit later on as well, which will bring in a fascinating strategical element to this race. But the first lap is going to be all about track position. Hashtag Berlin E-Prix. 2 races to go in the ABB Formula E World Championship. All 5 lights are on. And we go green in Berlin. Quite a lot of wheel spin, I think, for Da Costa in 2nd place, but he gets away quite nicely. Comes to the outside of his teammate coming down into the first corner. Sebastian Buemi's trying to go around the outside of the Venturi into the first corner as well, but the 2 Diesta cheaters remain in position, and then there goes Evans. Evans has taken advantage beautifully. He goes past Sebastian Buemi. So Mitch Evans gets ahead of Buemi coming down into turn 4 in that grey and black Jaguar and makes up a place. Everybody's safely through 4. Yes, they are. De Vries has barely made up any positions. The same is true of Robin Freitz, but here they come. Vergne, Da Costa, De Grassi, Mortara, Nato, and then it's Evans, and there goes Dennis to the outside coming into turn 6. What a beautiful move from Dennis, and Bird's been hit. Bird's been hit and half spun and loses a load of positions. But Jake Dennis, he didn't manage to get that move done on Wehrlein. It looked as though he had, but now Rowland is actually in front of him. So Rowland has made progress off the start. He's gone from 11th to 8th. Verline and Dennis still side by side coming around the hairpin. We're on board with the British driver now as we come up towards turn 10, and that should be enough for him to hold the place, although Verline in the Porsche still sticking it in on the outside. Holds on to the lead hold on to the place for the time being. But it's Vern da Costa, De Grassi, Mortara, Nato, the top 5. No positional changes there.
There's some fabulous side-by-side battles, and it really depended what lane you were in. As you see the Porsche Verline locking up wide, and see the Envision Virgin car, Nick Cassidy see if he can take advantage on the inside.
Verline got on the dirty stuff, but now he's going to be held out to dry, Nick Cassidy, because Gunter's going to try and come through in the blue and white BMW. Can't get it done. Cassidy holds the place, which is 11th position. So good start from Roland. Buemi looked racy initially, then dropped back. Evans has gained a spot. There is that midfield scrap, and Dennis has lost out at the start, and he's trying to that's Gunter trying to make his way back past Nick Cassidy as well. Tom Blomqvist has had to come into the pits on the opening lap. Maybe he was the car that had contact with Sam Bird. There are the two Nissans. Roland right behind Buemi. Is there going to be a move here coming down into 9? No, he's not quite close enough. But Vern and da Costa, the two DS de Cheetahs, leading the way with De Grassi in 3rd in these early stages. And there they come then, through the final corner. The two black and gold DS de Cheetahs, Vern, da Costa, De Grassi, Mortara, Nato, Evans.
And Sam Bird, even though he got hit, he's made up a couple of spots off the start already, from 15th to 13th, so things not as bad as they would have first appeared, but everybody's sort of just settling down for a little bit right now, taking stock, and then the attacking will start as soon as one of these guys sees an opening. And as soon as they see the tyres wearing, the car in front, as soon as you see the car in front start sliding around, you're going to smell blood in the water, you've got to attack.
Now attack mode activation is open. It's on the outside of this left-hander at turn 6. So you'll see at the bottom of the screen there, that is attack mode. Oh, bit of a lock-up there from da Costa as he came into turn 6. That gives De Grassi a little bit of a run in their fight over 2nd position. And we'll see whether he can get through. We're on board with De Grassi now, coming down into turn 9, but not quite close enough to make a move. Running in 3rd place at the moment, the Brazilian. Through the hairpin right-hander of 9. Now the rest of the queue come down through turn 9. There's Andre Lotterer running in 15th position. But here are the leaders again. Vern, da Costa, De Grassi, Mortara relatively staying with them at the moment. Nato dropping back a little, and actually Mitch Evans dropping back quite a bit.
Yeah, you've got to say De Grassi looks very, very strong at this point. And there's going to be a lot of energy saving in this race because the cars do not start the race with enough energy to make it to the end. So they're trying to go quickly, as quick as possible, trying to race, trying to battle all the time, trying to save energy, trying to put energy back into the battery.
So 41 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Vern and da Costa leading the way. The rest of the field flashing through the exit of turn 5, and De Grassi is putting da Costa under a lot of pressure here. Mortara's not able to quite stay with them. Then you've got Evans there in the number 20 Jaguar. As through they go, and if it finishes like this, Vern and da Costa would be tied on points at the top of the championship, just 3 points clear of Nick de Vries, which would be quite the feat going into the final day.
Well, absolutely right, and then you have to consider the group qualifying for tomorrow as well. This would be Group 2 tomorrow, and they would probably have an advantage. So there's all kinds of tactics going on. If it's me, I want to score the points when I've got the chance to score the points today.
De Grassi would only be on 77 points, so he'd be a good 20 points off the lead, so he wouldn't be out of contention, but not really in it at the same time. 40 minutes plus 1 lap to go. We're watching Jake Dennis on the left-hand side as he continues to try and chase down Oliver Rowland. And then this is the middle of the pack with René Rast and Andre Lotterer still squabbling. They come to do the double right-hander of turns 2 and 3. Here we go again, down towards turn 6. And so often in ABB FIA Formula E, it's a calm opening to the race. Everybody's just managing their tyres, managing their battery, managing their strategy. Here you can see the biggest gain as Oliver Rowland making up 3 positions was the biggest winner. And then the second half of the race is when it comes
the
more
madness.
to the madness. That's the word.
What they were saying earlier, they start off the race today with an understeer balance. The front of the car will slide a bit. That's to protect the rear tyres because of that instant torque and all that torque an electric motor has. You've got to protect those rear tyres on this very abrasive surface over the course of something like 40 laps around this track today.
Yeah, absolutely. 39 minutes to go. Here come the leaders.
Okay, Jeff will go back to start 14. You stick to him.
39 minutes plus 1 lap to go in round 14 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship here in Berlin, the Tempelhof airfield. You can see the runways there at the top. It's now a park, as it used to be a runway, but now it is a Formula E racetrack for these electric vehicles, and it is Jean-Eric Vergne and Antonio Felix da Costa, the two DS Techeetah drivers, that are leading the way, but Lucas de Grassi in the Audi is right with them, coming down through the left-hander of turn 6, and then it's a fairly calm queue behind at the moment, Dario Franchitti.
Absolutely right, Jack.
Through attack mode goes Andre Lotterer, so he is the first driver to activate his attack mode. Attack mode only has to be used once today, but it lasts for 8 minutes. You get a 35 kilowatt power boost, so 17% more power for 8 minutes, and managing that is going to be difficult.
Yeah, because to use that attack mode, that extra power, fantastic, that's amazing, but it also takes energy to do that, and we talked about this being energy limited. Also, the drivers having to look after the tyres. They all kind of, when I mentioned the 8 minutes of attack mode in one go, they all kind of sucked their teeth and went, oof, that's going to be hard on the rear tyres today. So everybody's managing all these different things again while trying to go as quickly as possible. We saw Da Costa hit the inside curb there. That's not ideal. Shows maybe he's a little bit out of his rhythm at the moment, and he's probably looking in his mirrors waiting for Lucas de Grassi to find an opportunistic move and make a lunge down the inside.
On board with de Grassi, that message on the front, because Audi are leaving the Formula E Championship. De Grassi is hoping to still be in it. Here they come down towards attack mode. None of them go for it this time through. Is there any logic, and I'm only saying this, no engineer has said this to me. Oh, there we go. That's Nick Cassidy getting passed by Max Günther. And then Sam Bird trying to take advantage of that, and does. So Cassidy loses 2 places in as many corners there, and now Rene Rast is going to be right up behind Cassidy to try and make that move, coming down into 9. Rast to the inside, and he goes ahead of Cassidy too. Günther being told, let's be efficient, you need to get back in the tow. He's quite a long way away from the slipstream of the car in front, which means less air resistance and less energy used going down the straights.
And as the drivers come out onto this front straight, it's a headwind down here today, massive headwind, so you can save a load of energy and still go quickly while being in that slipstream. So you're going to see some of that tactics, a bit like cycling, as we see that further back, Stoffel Van Dorn trying to pass the Dragon Penske, and that he does.
So it gets ahead of Sergio Sede Camera, and 36 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Vergne leading, Da Costa second, de Grassi third. Those four really, because Mortara's coming back into it a little bit. As I say that, a big lock up at turn 6 and drops away slightly. There goes Pascal Wehrlein, still side by side further back, and that is Lotterer and Cassidy. So Cassidy really struggling, and dropping back now to 15th position for Nick Cassidy after qualifying in 13th, so he's dropped a couple of places now from his grid slot. The clocks on the left-hand side represent how much time these drivers have remaining in attack mode.
And the blue, so the purple, red Envision Virgin cars, they have not been good this weekend. They came in here leading the team's championship, but they just haven't had the performance, and it looks like they're struggling in the race as well as the 1 lap performance they had in qualifying.
Look at the top 3 right together. As it stands, Vergne and Da Costa would move to the joint lead of the championship, and DS Techeetah would move to the top of the team's championship. It would be a superb day for the whole crew, but then they'd have to battle it out tomorrow again, and that would be tough.
And if I'm Da Costa in second place, the second of the black and gold Techeetahs, I'm saying to the team, come on, tell Jeff to go quicker. The car in front, tell Jean-Eric Vergne to go quicker. He's holding me up here. De Grassi's all over the back of me.
Both Nissans through attack mode, Sebastian Buemi and Oliver Rowland, and they come out either side of the Porsche of Wehrlein, and a very late move across from Wehrlein, but you don't force Rowland out of the way very easily, and the British driver gets it through. So Rowland very late in the day, and he's broken, I think. He might have broken the car, Pascal Wehrlein, with that dramatic covering move.
Yeah, flat tyre, Jack, flat tyre, left rear.
Left rear puncture, and Pascal Wehrlein out of the running. Just a little too late, seeing Rowland come across there.
Got to pick your battles and know who you're fighting, and if it's Oliver Rowland, he's not going to give up anything.
Absolutely. So a puncture for Wehrlein, he comes into the pits.
One of the Jaguars going slow.
Oh, a very slow Jaguar coming over the start-finish straight, and I think it's Sam Bird. It's Sam Bird who's dropping down the order. This was a look at Rowland, got to the inside, and Wehrlein was like, a bit too late, basically.
And the contact punctured the tyre, the contact with Oliver Rowland, and we've got a yellow flag and out of turn 10.
That'll be
for the Jaguar of Sam Bird, absolutely. Championship implications.
See,
Sam Bird came in here third.
There he goes, and he tried to squeeze Rowland, but Rowland was there already. And there is Bird, stopped on the start, finished straight. Disaster for the Jaguar team. That is Rowland going ahead of Sebastian Buemi, so the Nissan Edams drivers swapping places for 8th and 9th position. Sam Bird is trying to do a reset of the car, but as you say, no points in London. That'll be no points in the last 3 races for Sam Bird, who was the championship leader just 2 races ago. We're on board with driver's eye for Sam Bird as he waits
guys,
nervously.
Please respect the flags. We've got car 10 at driver's right at the exit of 10. Please respect the flags.
Okay, Sam Bird, I think, is going to be getting out of the car and out of the E-Prix. So the car not restarting by the looks of things for Sam Bird. That might bring out a full course yellow or a full safety car. Bird on the exit of that final corner. He's obviously he is in a dangerous position to continue the rest of the race. At the moment he's okay because he's covered by double waved yellows and visibility is fairly clear, but surely soon there'll be some kind of interruption to this race. There is Lucas de Grassi right behind Antonio Felix da Costa then. There is the BMW and the Porsche battling. That is Gunter and Lotterer. Gunter in 10th place, Lotterer in 11th position, but here come the leaders again. Verne, da Costa, de Grassi, Mortara, Nato, Evans.
You'd have to say that Verne has gapped da Costa just a little bit there. Where de Grassi is still over all of the back of da Costa, yeah.
So there we go. The safety car is deployed because Sam Bird's car is there on the exit of the final corner. And what disappointment for the British driver, because that, well, he'll still be on 81 points. He'll still be, but he'll move to sort of 16 points. Well, 17 points if it finishes like this. Bird would be 17 points off the championship lead with 30 points up for grabs tomorrow, and that takes you a long way out of contention.
Car balance okay. And getting held by da Costa, actually. Even in loose one.
So de Grassi saying, I'm getting help from da Costa.
Getting held up, I think. Here we go, it's on board with Sam Bird.
So he gets on the brakes.
Yeah, everything's fine. Back to the throttle. Bit of oversteer. Now it just shuts off. It's a helpless feeling when that happens. The frustration level was boiling over.
Sam Bird grinding to a halt. So that is James Barclay, the team principal of the Jaguar Racing Squad, disappointed because his driver Sam Bird is out of the Berlin E-Prix, the penultimate round of the season, and the safety car has been deployed by the gentleman on the right there, Scott Elkins, the race director, to clear Sam Bird's car away. The marshal's getting a big round of applause from the crowd, and Bird in the car, so it might just be one lap behind the safety car here. Depends, where's the exit that they're pushing it to? I think it's a little bit further down under the camera, so they've got quite a way to go. They're getting a lot of encouragement, and a real shame for Bird there, out of the running. Here he goes left, so hopefully we'll get the safety car in this lap. Jean-Eric Verne and Antonio Felix da Costa, the two DS cheaters, still leading the way. And where this is the contact Sam Bird had on the first lap. He's the Jaguar at the bottom here. Oh, there, he gets hit a couple of times by Lotterer's Porsche. So
in the right rear.
Yeah, so
drive shaft.
Maybe something like that broke.
Drive shafts are very sensitive in these cars because they're made as light as possible.
This was Bird's view of it.
Just watch for the view to change in a hurry. No.
Oh no.
That wasn't it. No, but yes, the drive shafts are built very light to minimum rolling resistance in the drivetrain to use as little power as possible. But they're very sensitive to getting hit, shall we say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bird out of the running. He and Blomqvist. No, Blomqvist is back in the race. He was in the pits for 7 minutes getting repairs done, but he is still back in the race. Still behind the safety car, actually, so didn't manage to get the safety car in that time around. So it'll be another lap behind the safety car.
And energy will be taken out of the battery for every minute they're behind the safety car, 1 kilowatt hour. of energy will be taken out of the battery. Just to give you an idea, they start the race with 52 kilowatt hours of energy, and there's a bit of damage to the front of Max Gunter's BMW already, and Andre Lotterer's Porsche, and René Rast's Audi.
All the rest, though, look immaculate.
Oh, absolutely.
And there is Bird. Safety car will be in this lap. Has a look at the championship, the race standings. And, well, such disappointment in London for Bird. And it's just continuing here. A season of highs and lows, and it's ending, unfortunately, for he and the Jaguar squad, fairly low. Mitch Evans is 6th at the moment, so he's not out of the running for the championship, Evans, but if it were to finish like this, he would be picking up 8 points, which would take him to 83. So he would be a little far away in terms of the championship fight, because as it stands, Verne and Da Costa finishing first and second would take the lead of the championship, level on points. As we go green again, once again in Berlin, and it is the two DS Techeetahs leading the way. Bit of a slide from De Grassi on the exit of 10, and that could give Mortara an opportunity here. The Audi has to cover the inside. Eduardo Mortara on the attack in the Venturi. No, bails out of it, doesn't he? Quite early, lifts and coasts, saves the energy. Meanwhile, Roland sends it to the outside of Jake Dennis for 7th position. That was aggressive stuff from Roland. Couldn't get the job done. Dennis in the white and blue BMW holds on to 7th spot.
And there's a bit of a traffic jam behind Norman Nato in the second of the black and white Rocket Venturis, and that's holding up Mitch Evans, Jake Dennis. And you can see Jake Dennis starting to defend, pulling over to the left, coming up to turn 6.
Roland goes for it again, but again Dennis covers the inside. Evans is looking racy on Norman Nato in front. Buemi is defending from Max Gunter. Those two cars coming through there behind. And Gunter's right up behind Buemi, actually. There come the top 3. De Grassi has pretty swiftly caught back up to the two DS Techeetahs, despite that little twitch on the exit of turn 10 at the safety car restart. You can see the numbers running out. That's for Roland and Buemi. They're now out of attack mode. They've used their 1 8-minute allocation of extra power.
Oliver Roland all over the back of Jake Dennis, and it almost looked like Oliver Roland was gesticulating out of turn 6. I don't know what he's gesticulating at, but the ham is out of the cockpit.
Verne leads, Da Costa second, De Grassi third. Then the two Venturis, the white and black cars of Mortara and Nato, and then Mitch Evans is right behind them in the Jaguar, and he can see the front of the field. He knows he's not far away from a podium finish. He knows that we're approaching half race distance, and this will soon be the time to try and make an attack.
We talked about the tyres being critical and how you use them today, and them being sort of really challenged. Well, because of the time under safety car, that would allow the tyres to cool down a bit, and then they'll sort of regroup and start attacking again.
So as it stands now, Da Costa would have a 1-point advantage over Jean-Eric Verne. So I'm not sure what the standings we saw earlier were, because they showed both on 98. So maybe Verne had the fastest lap at that point. Verne would have had the fastest lap at that point.
1 point for fastest lap.
So that's why that changes. So Da Costa would be 1 point ahead of Verne now if it finishes like this, and they come down into the hairpin left-hander at turn 10.
Yeah, and Buemi in the second of the red and black Nissans, just at the top of your screen. The BMW behind him of Max Gunter, Andre Lotterer, and the Porsche behind him. He's really struggling for pace today. Oh, there we see Rast and the Audi going past Lotterer and the Porsche. You see them in the middle of the screen.
Rast in attack mode, and he gets ahead of Andre Lotterer. So the Audi moves up into 11th place. And there is the race leaders, though, still Jean-Eric Verne and Antonio Felix Da Costa and Lucas De Grassi, all still in the queue, coming down. And Rast is now fancying a move on Max Gunter for 10th position. And there he goes on his compatriot, 2 into 1 for René Rast. He'll take Gunter and he'll take Buemi, and Gunter will try and get past Buemi as well. The two leaning on each other. This is going to be a brave one if Gunter sends it in. He does. Going into turn 7, and Gunter gets through then up into 10th place. Rast takes 2 places in one go. Gunter now covering the inside, and now Lotterer is going past Buemi as well. Buemi really struggling this season. It's so strange. He's a driver who has carved his way through the field here in Berlin a few years ago, but this year just dropping backwards after a strong qualifying session. But up at the front, it's still Verne leading, Da Costa second, De Grassi third. And here comes Rast on Roland now. So Rast, when he's in attack mode, absolutely flies.
Yeah, taking full advantage of that extra 17% of power. And that's obviously the plan, just use up some energy and then save at the next point. But he's got to catch up to Jake Dennis ahead of him in the blue and white BMW. He's got to keep pushing to try and get those points, because he's right up there in the championship, René Rast.
Rast sets the fastest lap of the race.
Again, he's done it so many times this year, and there's another point for that, and that could come in very handy at the end of tomorrow's 45-minute plus a lap race when the championship is decided.
Oh, that's a tight one. The Mahindra under big pressure. This is a replay, though, of how René Rast took 2 places in one go. That was really good stuff. And then Gunther just had the inside line on Buemi.
Yeah, once he had that inside line, Jack, there was nothing Buemi could do. He was on the marbles on the outside. Look at Rast go, though. I don't think Max Gunther appreciated that. And he just hits him, and he's trying to gain track position, trying to get just that little bit ahead of Buemi so he can make this move in turn 7.
And Rast has got Dennis now as well. So René Rast up into 7th position, flying up the order in that second Audi. But it is Jean-Eric Vergne who's still leading. There is Rast coming down into turn 1. Look how quickly he's cleared everybody else. It's quite remarkable. He's a long way up the road with 23 minutes to go. This was the fight we saw a moment ago. That's Robin Freins going ahead of Nick Cassidy. So Cassidy really struggling today. They might have had a little bit of a touch there, actually, coming into turn 1. But Freins is in attack mode. Cassidy is not, and Freins is up into 15th position. But still, 22 minutes to go here in Berlin, and there goes Da Costa to the lead. Antonio Felix Da Costa overtakes Jean-Eric Vergne and gets to the head of the field. So was that team orders there, Dario? They switched places very neatly, and now here comes Lucas Di Grassi in the Audi. He's going to try and take advantage of this, but he's not quite close enough. Evans has activated attack mode, and Rast almost goes into the back of Eduardo Mortara. Evans, he didn't activate it, did he? Evans isn't in attack mode. He's up behind the Venturi of Mortara, though.
Mortara did activate.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the point. If you're Da Costa, you've got to get away from your teammate. You've got to gap your teammate to prove you're quicker than him. And Vergne is right behind him, though, and he'll be taking advantage now off the slipstream from the car in front. Da Costa, Vergne has been leading the way all the time, breaking the slipstream for the cars behind. Now they've swapped over.
Rast is unbelievable. He's now got ahead of Norman Nato. He's 4th. He's got up to the back of his teammate. Di Grassi started 3rd. Rast started 12th. And now they are together on track. Absolutely remarkable stuff. And you just think there's a long, long way to go still. Rast is going to go past. Oh, Di Grassi, is he? Not this time. And there goes Di Grassi. And Di Grassi goes past Vergne. And Rast is going to follow through as well. The 2 Audis now go past Jean-Eric Vergne, who suddenly drops to 4th place. Now, I believe it was team orders from DS Techeetah for them to swap places, but what was not in the plan, surely, was Di Grassi and Rast both getting Vergne.
Rast is absolutely flying. I mean, there's no other word for it. He started this race 12th, and he's up to 3rd. This is just incredible stuff.
So René Rast now 3rd position, up behind his teammate Lucas Di Grassi. What a remarkable performance this is. And now Vergne must have some kind of problem here. I mean, Mortara's in attack mode as well.
Close the gap.
Di Grassi being told to close the gap to the race leaders. There's Mitch Evans, and he is fighting with Norman Nato. Nato is in attack mode, Evans is not. So I told you the first half would be quiet and then the second half would get busy. Now it is Da Costa and Di Grassi fighting for the race lead, but René Rast is in there as well, because I thought Rast was going to go past Di Grassi because he was in attack mode, which I think might happen now. But Di Grassi saw the chance to go, oh, he's not. But Di Grassi saw the chance to go for the move past Vergne. Almost contact between Di Grassi and Da Costa, the 2 race leaders.
And I wonder if there's team orders going on there, and this is the last race. They are going to be teammates at Audi, but I would imagine it's something like, okay, Lucas, let Rennie through, and Lucas is thinking, I don't think so. Da Costa in the lead is having to defend.
He's under so much pressure. Meanwhile, Sims, De Vries, Bird, Lynn and Van Dorn are the 5 drivers who have fan boost, so that could be helpful for Antonio Felix Da Costa. Both he and Di Grassi have got 1 attack mode remaining as well, as they come out of the final corner now and down the start-finish straight. And look at this, the 2 Audis going side by side, and Di Grassi's going for the lead. Lucas Di Grassi to the inside, and he gets ahead of Da Costa, and Rast tries to force his way through as well. It's an Audi 1-2 in Germany. Degrassi leading, Rast second, Audi first and second, and suddenly the DS Tachitas are slipping back because Eduardo Mortara's in attack mode. He's going to be the next driver to get past Antonio Felix da Costa. There it is. Rast is going to go for the lead, or is Degrassi going to go for attack mode coming down into turn 6? Neither is true, but Mortara is up into third place. DS Tachita have just lost everything.
And I wonder if they're just losing the car balance, Jack. If the back of the car is sliding too much, it doesn't look that way. But the pace has gone somewhere. We didn't expect this from the Audi guys.
De Vries is into the pits. Championship leader Nick De Vries into the pits, out of the race, or certainly out of the running for points, while Lucas Degrassi leads the way. Rast is second, Mortara is third.
Mortara's going for it.
And Nato is going for it on Da Costa as well. That's usable energy. Rasta's got not as much usable energy left, and here now comes Mortara for second place. Eduardo Mortara in the Venturi goes second while he's in attack mode, and that is a move for position because Rast has used his attack mode.
Degrassi has not yet, but obviously that's going to affect his energy consumption and he's going to lose some track position. So right now Degrassi is pushing like crazy to make a gap on the cars behind so he can take attack mode and still be in the lead.
Lucas, push into attack mode.
So Degrassi being told then, push to attack mode.
Copy.
And here goes Degrassi to attack mode. Is that going to give Mortara the lead of the race? I think it is. The Venturi takes the lead. Degrassi comes out side by side with his teammate. We've had a DS Tachita 1-2, then an Audi 1-2, and now we have a Rocket Venturi 1-2. What an absolutely thrilling Formula E race. No idea who's going to come out on top here, but what we do know is it has fallen apart for the DS Tachita crew. They're now a long way away from the front. And Roland is defending hard from Jake Dennis. These two have been battling for many years. Roland put Dennis in the wall, reportedly, when they were karting together, when they were kids. And now, here goes Dennis up the inside of Roland. Lynn and De Vries under investigation for causing a collision. That could be the solution to the De Vries conundrum. 17 minutes plus a lap to go.
We didn't see that, but Jake Dennis has lost he's now equal to where he started, which I was expecting much more from him. He's quickest in both practice sessions. As we see Susie Wolf on our left of our screen, team principal of the Venturi team, both cars running 1-2 at the moment, and they're starting to gap. The three cars ahead are starting to gap Rennie Rast in fourth. Ow! And we see Mitch Evans go to attack mode, and behind him Jean-Eric Verne attack mode as well.
16.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. There comes Mortara and Nato, the top two, all in attack mode. Rast is in fourth position behind his teammate Lucas Degrassi. Now, how aggressive is Degrassi going to be? They've all got the same amount of usable energy remaining, and it was contact with Lynn that brought De Vries into the pits. He's been in and now out of the pits, but he was in there for 30 seconds, so must presumably a puncture. And there's the attack modes remaining. Only Van Dorn and Cassidy and De Vries have an attack mode to go. Here comes Gunter now, passing Oliver Roland down into turn 1. That is 9th place now for Max Gunter.
This is going to get, as close as this field is, Jack, on those last laps, this is going to get really interesting because each point is so critical with everybody stacked so tightly in the championship. And they've played somewhat nicely so far. There's the live championship points at the moment. Edo Mortara to the lead of the championship at
Nick
the
De Vries retiring, he'd still be second, 4 points off the lead.
Yeah.
Da Costa would be 9 points off the lead. Where's Jean-Eric Verne gone? Verne wouldn't be in Group 1 tomorrow.
That might not be a bad thing for him.
Absolutely mad.
Just remember, we're only giving out the championship positions at the end of tomorrow.
Verne would be 11th in the standings. Wow. So, we've still got 15 minutes plus a lap to go.
So it could all change. It could absolutely turn on its head from this point.
Over the start-finish straight again. Mortara leading. Nato second. Degrassi third. Rast fourth. Da Costa, Evans, Dennis, Verne, Gunter, Roland, the top 10. DS Tachita would take the lead of the team's championship, but only by 1 point over Envision Virgin. There would be 4 points. There would be 8 points between the top 5 in the team's championship. Virgin aren't scoring any points today, but they'd still be 1 point off the lead. Mortara is now out of attack mode. So he's down to 0. Mortara's out of attack mode. Nato will be out in a minute. That is when Degrassi has to make the hay. Because look how far they pulled away from Rast, who's under pressure from Evans. Evans goes through, past Rene Rast, and Dennis goes past Da Costa now. And Da Costa almost, I thought he was getting fed into the wall there, but fair racing in the end from Jake Dennis. And Da Costa and Verne lose 2 more slots. This is a nightmare scenario for DS Techeetah.
What is going on here? You're not seeing big snaps of oversteer on the brakes or anything. It must be just. I think it's just grip. They've been very efficient with that DS powertrain, but not so today so far.
14 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
And these guys have really, and look at that separation,
So
Jack.
what's going to happen with here? Surely Nato, who is not in title contention at all, has to be rear gunner as much as possible here. Dennis is now past Rast. Yes, Dennis is now past Rast. Lynn's on his fan boost as he tries to get past Robin Freintz down into turn 1. We'll keep you updated as to whether that comes off. But what can Nato do to keep Degrassi behind for 3.5 minutes? It's going to be a tough ask.
What I would be doing, I would be letting Nato into the lead and then dragging round Mortara to save energy, because as you said, Mortara's in the championship fight, Norman Nato is not, and that's the way I would be playing the chess pieces if I were Susie Wolff and Deputy Principal Jerome D'Ambrosio. I think that's the play today.
So Degrassi has got 3 minutes to try and get ahead of these 2 Venturi cars while he's in a higher power mode, and Nato covers the inside. You could almost, the thing is they've got such a gap, you could almost compromise Nato's race just to keep Degrassi behind, but he's got the extra power and he's dummied him. Lucas Degrassi sells Nato, the dummy, into turn 10. Beautiful move from the Brazilian. He's into second place and now hunting down Eduardo Mortara for the lead of the Berlin E-Prix in Audi's last weekend in Formula E. A fascinating race, and we've still got 12 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Mortara leading, Degrassi second, Nato third. Degrassi's got 2.5 minutes now. How hard will Mortara fight as well? That's the other question.
Evans is catching the back of Norman Nato. He caught him 1.6 seconds that last lap. Degrassi's going to have a go into what, probably turn 9, which is the hairpin. We're coming through 6 into 7 now. He's setting him up right from here. He's setting him up. He's going to a bit tighter, back to the throttle harder. And he's going to look to the right as he comes through here. A little bit lift and coast. He can do it. Maybe he's quite happy to get dragged along for a minute.
Now,
save energy.
Yeah, and just do it right at the end of your attack mode stint. Because Mortara was very...
Dummy again, he was trying it.
Mortara was very wise in Puebla. The team was saying, you know, you can fight the cars behind. There you can see the Audi fans cheering Degrassi on, and this has to be the chance for the lead. Degrassi to the inside, down into turn 1. Lucas Degrassi, the Season 3 champion, is coming out of nowhere to become a real title contender in Season 7. Absolutely remarkable from him and the Audi squad. Evans has still got 2.5 minutes. Can he catch the 2 Venturis who've done a marvellous job today, you have to say. Really impressive stuff. 11 minutes to go, and as it stands, De Vries would be in the lead of the championship, 3 points ahead of Mortara, and Degrassi would move into the first group of qualifying and he would be, what is that?
8 points.
8 points, thank you, Mr. Calculator Man. 8 points off the championship lead. Wow. Remarkable. So, Degrassi leads, then it's the 2 Rocket Venturis of Mortara and Nato in second and third. Evans and Dennis behind, then the 2 DS Techeetahs. On board with Jake Dennis in round 14 of 15 in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, and he is trying to pass Mitch Evans for 4th position, but Lucas Degrassi is now the driver in the lead for Audi. Eduardo Mortara is second for Venturi, Norman Nato is third, and then it's Mitch Evans and Jake Dennis in 4th and 5th with 10 minutes plus 1 lap to go. There goes the leader, then those are the 2 second and third place cars. Then it's Mitch Evans who's caught up with them, as has Jake Dennis. Then it's the 2 DS Techeetahs of Vernon Da Costa, who are going to be so disappointed with today. So disappointed.
I think we're expecting so much more because they dominated the race on this layout when we were in Berlin last year, and they're not at the races right now. And it doesn't look, the car doesn't look like it's handling badly. It doesn't look like they're struggling with massive imbalance. It's just, is it just a simple inefficiency issue with the powertrain, which you wouldn't say because they've been so efficient with the other races this season. Lucas Di Grassi 1.5 seconds ahead of Eduardo Mortara behind him.
Through the final corner they come.
Mitch Evans on Norman Nato here. You see the white Rocket Venturi in the Jaguar.
Evans is
fast.
in attack mode, and the Jaguar to the outside. And he's through, is he? Nato's holding it in. Evans gets out of shape. Couldn't quite keep it. Got on the dirty stuff.
So close. And just lost the rear right in the middle, Jack. As you say, got on the dirty stuff. And that was all she wrote.
Energy remaining. Dennis is in the best position out of the front. Sort of 10, really. Everybody's in a fairly similar place. Evans is about to be out of attack mode, so that was kind of his last chance with the extra power, unless he goes for it here. Down into turn 6, round the outside of 6 would be a bold one. Can't get it done. The switch back up into 7 is the thought, and he's got a bit
position.
of an overlap. Nato comes across, and they're going to be side by side into 7, and Evans is through. Great move from Mitch Evans, worked that beautifully, and now Jake Dennis is going to try and take advantage. Down into turn 9, can't get the move done for Jake Dennis, who is ahead of the two DS to cheaters now. Di Grassi leading, Mortara second, Mitch Evans now third for Jaguar. This has already been Jaguar's most successful Formula E season. They've had 7 podium finishes, could be 8 if Evans can hold on to third place. And now here comes Jake Dennis, right in the slipstream of Norman Nato. No attack mode for Dennis, so he's got to do it the old-fashioned way if the man from Nuneaton wants 4th spot.
And this is helping Mitch Evans ahead to gap the white and black Venturi you see ahead of you. But it's a fantastic performance by, if Mitch Evans wants to be a championship contender, he's going to keep doing exactly what he's doing. Fabulous job today.
On board with Dennis.
Watch for Nato, he's catching Mitch Evans ahead. Not quite close enough.
I saw a thing earlier, a notification that Alex Lynn is under investigation for improper use of fan boost, just FYI. Here's a look at Evans' move. Got the cut back out of 6th. He wasn't fully alongside, was he? But he committed, and through he went.
You see the marbles on the outside. As soon as you hit those, it's like hitting ice. So yeah, once he had that track position to the inside, he took full advantage of it. And here we go. This is the move from Jake Dennis behind. Great switchback, great racecraft from Mitch Evans in the Jaguar.
And Dennis was like, oh, hello, suddenly I'm in this fight.
Yeah, he's going to be thinking, right, come on, a bit of momentum. But then Norman Nato just, defended, as is his right to do.
Lucas Di Grassi leading the way. Then it's Eduardo Mortara in second. That's Mitch Evans in third. Fourth is Nato in the 71 white and black Venturi. No attack modes remaining for anyone, so it's 7 minutes plus 1 lap of pure racing. Gunter's looking quite racy now on the back of Antonio Felix da Costa, who we believe is struggling with regen into turn 1, so he's struggling to regenerate energy back into the battery, which would explain some of his time and speed loss.
Yeah, so when you regenerate, it puts pressure on the tyres too. Just as much as accelerating out of the corner, it puts pressure on the tyres. So the more you have to regenerate, the hotter the rear tyres are going to go. It's just a vicious circle. And obviously, you've just heard da Costa struggling with that.
6 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Di Grassi's just been told on the radio to release the buffer. So I don't know I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means don't worry about staying a second ahead and pull further away, or if that means secret code. They have all these secret codes, these teams.
What does that one mean?
I don't know.
Very odd. It means like he's dropping some nails on the track or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. Still plenty more to unfold here in Berlin. Norman Nato right behind Mitch Evans as they come into the first corner. Jake Dennis we're on board with here. So Evans got ahead of Nato, not using attack mode, but hasn't really been able to pull clear and haul down the advantage that Mortara and Di Grassi have. If anything, Evans looks a little bit out of shape.
Yeah, and judging by the line Mitch has taken, he's struggling with the rear tyres of the car as well. He's sort of turning in later, trying to set up for the exits. He's not happy with the back of the car. That would be my interpretation. So he's really struggling with that now. And again, that means he can't accelerate as well at the corners, but he can't regenerate as well and put energy back into the battery, which you have to do to make the end of the race. Otherwise, you just got to keep slowing down. And the car the whole time is beeping and telling you when to lift, when to regenerate. And you can't ignore those beeps. It means you got to go slower, but you can't ignore it. You won't make the end of the race. All the while trying to race as close as this to the walls and your competitors.
Just a second still between Di Grassi and Mortara, so they haven't changed around too much. and it's 2.3 seconds back to Evans, and they're lapping at about a similar speed. Again, Di Grassi and Mortara doing a pretty much identical lap time. This is the view back from Norman Nato, back to Jake Dennis behind, and Nato actually is still really hustling Mitch Evans, who qualified 7th, was feeling quite optimistic going into the race. Spoke to him just before the start on the grid, and he was saying the rear tyres are going to be tough, but he felt like he would be able to stay with the front runners and maybe be in with a shot of a podium. And here he is now in 3rd place, but Norman Nato wants to take that away. Lock up from Nato as he goes to the outside. Evans covers the inside. Nato's trying to do the exact maneuver that Evans did on him, but unable to quite pull it off this time. Through the right-hander now, down towards turn 9. This is the battle for 3rd position, the final podium spot in round 14 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. As it stands, Nick de Vries would still lead the championship, but Eduardo Mortara would finish 2nd and move to 2nd in the standings, just 1 point ahead of Jake Dennis. And if Dennis can make a place here, he'd climb further up the order, but Evans might be under pressure here from Norman Nato, which would see him drop down the order as they come into turn 1. And this is going to get very busy in these last 3 minutes plus 1 lap, Dario Franchitti.
Absolutely right. You've got to say Mitch Evans is in all kinds of trouble here, doing a great job defending, but the tighter lines you take to defend, it means you can't carry momentum. Makes the problem worse. Mitch Evans checking his mirrors every time he leaves a corner. You're going to see him start moving over, looking in his mirrors again. Is Norman Nato close enough to make a lunge? Yes, he is, but then a defence from Mitch Evans.
And Dennis, Dennis tried to take advantage of that and go to the outside. He tries to get the switch back that Evans managed before. That nearly opened the door for Jean-Eric Verne to get involved in the party in the black and gold DS Techeetah. You can see his on board on the inset on the left-hand side. Fantastic four-way battle. Dennis sends it. Nato comes across and covers. And that's a tight one. Nato's a vigorous defender. We saw him and Sam Bird end up in the wall when Bird tried to pass Nato in London. Bird got the penalty for that.
Man, you can't move under braking, man.
Yeah, that's what he did in London. Dennis not happy with it, and Nato got away with it in London.
Rightly so from Jake Dennis, I would say. That was a very, very late defence. Let's see if he does it again. All Jake Dennis can do, keep the pressure on him. Jake Dennis felt he was pretty hard done by it. It looked like it this morning, held up a little bit in qualifying.
Dennis can see the podium though, and he knows he was in Group 1 today, and he's managed to be in podium contention. So if he can repeat that tomorrow, he has a real shot at winning the championship, Jake Dennis. Jean-Eric Verne and Antonio Felix da Costa, who 20 minutes into this race today looked dead certain to move to the top 2 positions in the championship, and now struggling, but they're all getting queued up behind Mitch Evans. Alex Lynn has a drive-through penalty for improper use of fan boost. That'll drop him down from 15th position, but we're on board again with Jake Dennis. Because the thing is, Dennis would have used a bit more energy when he sent that lunge. He has got a bit more than Nato, though. You can see on the left-hand side, he's on 7%. Everybody else is on 6% of usable energy as Di Grassi comes across the line to start what I presume is going to be the penultimate lap.
Yes.
It's going to be tight, but Di Grassi might have to back off on this last lap just to make sure.
With Mortara 6/10 back, how much do you want to back off?
It's going to be quite interesting, that.
Yeah, and they've made their bed with the length of the race. They now know, obviously it's a timed race, so now they know how many laps it is. He's going to have to tactically back off in the right spots to shorten the race so they can so he can make it to the finish. He doesn't care about anybody else making it to the finish. This is fascinating. How aggressive is Jake Dennis going to be? Asia Life's championship, he's up to 3rd place as he runs, 4 points behind the championship leader.
Now here come Di Grassi and Mortara. Now they'll both know that they need to slow down just a fraction to make sure that the next race is the last lap. But how hard can Mortara attack when Di Grassi has to do that? There's a bit of a lunge from Jean-Eric Verne on Jake Dennis. Late in the day, opportunistic and ambitious, and Dennis holds the place. But Verne came from a long way back there. That's compromised Dennis's run, and all of a sudden he's dropped back from Nato and Evans down into turn 9. Dennis is covering the inside and holding the place. Here comes Di Grassi, and we have ticked down to 0 now, so that's fine. This will be the final lap of the race for Lucas Di Grassi and Eduardo Mortara. Evans 3rd there, ahead of Nato, Dennis, Verne, da Costa, Gunter, Rast, that top 9. But here come the lead 2. Mortara might fancy this on the final lap.
I wouldn't put it past him, absolutely. The points are so important, but he wants to win in Germany too. It's such an important race for the manufacturers.
Here we go, Rocket Venturi with the Mercedes EQ powertrain in the back of it. Eduardo Mortara looking for his second win of the season. Lucas Di Grassi looking for his second win of the season as they come down towards turn 6. Can Alan McNish's man hold on, or can Susie Wolf's man get ahead? Down into the left-hander they come.
It's a battle of the Scottish team principals here.
Yes, indeed. And Mortara's got quite nice drive out of 6, but really 9 and 10 are the last two overtaking opportunities on the track. Dennis still has that slight more usable energy than those behind, but we'll keep an eye on that battle, of course, as here comes Di Grassi and Mortara down through turn 9, out towards turn 10. Di Grassi gets a bit of a twitch on. Dennis and Nato have been given a warning, but here comes Mortara, goes to the outside at the final turn. He's going to get a great run off the final corner, gets on the power, but I don't think he's going to quite have the room. It's a drag race to the line. The checker flag falls, and Lucas Di Grassi wins in Berlin with 0% energy right at the line, and Evans comes across the line in third. He holds off Norman Nato and Jake Dennis, and it's victory for Audi in Berlin. Lucas Di Grassi moves into title contention.
Yes, 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 yes! Woo!
A 12th Formula E win for Lucas Di Grassi. Eduardo Mortara finishes second and moves to the lead of the championship after a thrilling race.
Okay, let's talk to the winner. Okay, let's give him a second. Lucas, it's Dario on TV. Congratulations, you wily old fox.
Thanks, Dario. It was a very, very hard race. Car was moving a lot, but a good strategy, and finally we made it.
Fabulous racecraft, fabulous race. We've got to do it all again tomorrow, and you're right in championship contention.
Let's do it, let's do it. Thank you very much, Dario.
Here are the results then from round 14, the penultimate race of the Formula E World Championship season. Look at that, just a 1/10 of a second between Di Grassi and Mortara at the line. Evans third, Nato fourth. Dennis maybe a little frustrated with that 5th place because he had more energy. He could see that 3rd place, but it wasn't to be. Roland finishing down in 13th place. Freintz could only climb to 15th position. Lynn, after that drive-through penalty, down in 20th place. De Vries had contact, Verline had contact, so did Blomqvist and Bird. So here they come up onto the podium. The managing director of Audi Sport, Ab Schäffler, making his way onto the podium. Great result for Audi at their final race in the series. Jamie Rigo, Alberto Longo and Alejandro Agag there to congratulate. Third place for Mitch Evans from Jaguar. Another podium for Evans and another 3rd place. It is his 5th podium of the season, more than anyone, and they've all been 3rd place finishes. Looked like a fairly serious conversation there, didn't it? With Alejandro Agag.
Next.
Now another podium for Eduardo Mortara.
Eduardo Mortara.
It's his 4th podium of the season. He's had a 1st, a 2nd and a 3rd until now. This is his second place of the season, and it moves up to 2nd in the championship. But the race winner, yet again, the stalwart of ABB FIA Formula E, a 12th win of his career, and the Audi Sport Ab Schäffler team can celebrate because once again Lucas Di Grassi is on the top step of the podium. The Brazilian flag draped around his neck. And now, for the 12th time for Lucas de Grassi in Formula E, it is the Brazilian national anthem.
Brazil.
Maybe for the final time in Formula E, we'll see what tomorrow brings. But the German national anthem for Audi Sport Abt Schäffler. They've won their home race before. This one will be sweet. Alan McNish, the team principal of Audi. It's so interesting to speak to McNish and the team after their time here in Formula E, and whether they feel they've underachieved, maybe because they've been so strong over the years, maybe don't have the championships to show for it. There is Theodor Schwedemark handing over the team's trophy. He's the Chief Communication and Sustainability Officer at ABB. Sascha Leipold, member of the board of the ADAC Berlin-Brandenburg, hands the trophy to Mitch Evans. Another third-place trophy this season for the New Zealander. Jaguar's most successful season. Can he wrap it up tomorrow? He's got a shot. The head of sponsorship for Julius Baer is Marco Peroni, and he gives the trophy to Eduardo Mortara. Second in the championship now. And now Dr. Alexander Kotuk, the BMW head of experiential marketing, hands the trophy over to the Audi driver, Lucas de Grassi. Another victory for de Grassi.
It's time for the famous Formula E podium selfie that will be shared across social media.
Now the podium selfie for de Grassi, Evans and Mortara, the fans in the background, the team on the track in the background as well. Always interesting in these double headers how hard they celebrate, because they don't want to drench their race suits ahead of tomorrow. And there's not really that release, because now it's back to the debrief. Now they go for it. Great stuff. Lucas de Grassi takes the win. Moves into the top 6 in the championship. Eduardo Mortara moves to second in the standings. Tomorrow is going to be the title deciders to end all title deciders.
Three, two, one.
And we go green in Berlin. There goes Da Costa to the lead. De Grassi goes past Bern. And de Grassi's going for the lead. It's an Audi 1-2. The Venturi takes the lead. Di Grassi to the inside, and Lucas Di Grassi wins in Berlin. It's victory for Audi.
Yes!